I'm Gorilla Monsoon.
And I'm thankful that I'm not.
Oh, you just can't help yourself, can you, huh?
I don't help anyone.
Huh.
Unless they've got the cash.
Yeah, I'm going to help you out the door if you don't stop.
If you can fit
anyway,
through
folks,
it.
I'm going to knock you out.
Excuse me, but, is anyone going to introduce me, bro?
All right. And this is Vince Russo.
I thought it was the mailman.
Huh. Why don't you be serious?
Smells like one.
Oh, what the frig, bro?
All right, enough. Folks, coming up in just a short is a podcast hosted by two guys you've never heard of and probably never will.
Monsoon knows a guy who knows a guy, if you know what I'm saying.
I get it.
Oh, will you stop? Folks, Chris and George or something. They do the Hot Tag podcast, and here it is.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Hot Tag Wrestling Show. Christy Francesco, George Rogers is here. I say it like it's shocking, as if George is here every single week, right?
Oh my God, I can't believe he showed up today. I'm here every week. I'm here the weeks that you're not here.
Yeah, you are. That's right.
Problem is, you have access to the account, so I can't post anything.
Yeah, you would think after all this time I would make George an admin, but I just forget to do it. But I'm going to do it.
Make me an admin on Instagram, so that way I could just post memes all day.
That would be great, right? All right, so we're back this week with an actual episode of Monday Night Raw, although after seeing a lot of this Raw, I kind of wish there wasn't one the week of February 19th, but nonetheless, it does give us something to compare.
The same could be said for the other show as well.
You're damn right.
And there's going to be a lot. There's a lot that's going to be said. There's going to... listen, I hope you got a fork and a knife because you're going to eat good tonight, kids.
So before we get into the Raw versus Nitro, I just kind of want to touch on what happened on Monday Night Raw, Monday afternoon Raw, today on Netflix. Well,
it was night in Brussels. You uncultured swine.
I knew it. So for those who live in America, or even I guess you could say the East Coast, like us, Raw started at 3:00 in the afternoon. I completely forgot about that. I saw that my clock said 3:05, and I quickly went to Netflix because I figured John Cena was going to open Raw, and he did. Cena did cut his first promo since turning heel. It's caused a massive stir online. I think half people like it. Half the people just didn't understand where they're going. I am on the side of I just didn't like it. I don't think it was bad. I kind of just, for my own taste and what I was really, my expectations were significantly different than what came out. Let me just preface this by saying, I don't, it's okay to disagree with me. It's okay if you love the promo. That's great. That's the beautiful thing of wrestling. It's like sports. Everything is subjective. Certain people have expectations of certain things that could be completely different than the others. Eric Bischoff says it all the time. Just because it's not my cup of tea doesn't mean that millions of other people can't like it. You don't ever have to agree with me. I just went into this whole heel turn with John Cena with a completely different mindset of how I thought it should go. It still can go that way, but based off of an opening promo, your first, you can never make a first impression. You can never, make a second first impression, right? So this is how the way the promo went was just none of it, in my opinion. And, some idiot on X said, well, you don't know pro wrestling. Brother, I have probably forgotten more about pro wrestling than you probably will ever know in your life. Okay. So all I said was I thought it was a weak promo that was just lazy writing. Let me explain this. I'll talk about it real quick, and then George will give his thoughts because George actually has a different thought than I do. Here's my thought. The promo was very whiny to me, and he's blaming the fans. He's a human. The fans are bullies. The fans are mean people. They're little meanies. And I looked at it this way. One, he all of a sudden discusses how being booed affected him. Bro, you've been booed for 20 years, and you used to lean into it and just love it and eat it up. my point of how I wanted this to go, my expectation of this heel turn is I like to harken back to 2001. There's a lot of wrestling fans that maybe weren't even born yet in 2001. This is 24 years ago. I'm going back almost, a quarter century, which is crazy to even say that right now.
Yeah.
That 2001 was literally almost 25 years ago. When Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock were going at it for the WWF Championship that was coming up at WrestleMania 17 at the Astrodome, Austin is going in as the babyface. The Rock, actually, they're both baby faces. I'm sorry, they're both baby faces. There was a great promo, and you can find it online, where it was basically a taped promo where JR was in the middle. He was hosting an interview with The Rock and Stone Cold, previewing this main event, which is probably, even to this day, George, maybe the biggest main event of all time. So
it's definitely number one on a lot of people's lists.
Yeah, I mean, the only other one that maybe people would bring up more is Hulk and Andre, which is fair. You go into that promo, and Austin, he was planting seeds of what happened at the end of that Mania, where Austin was saying, "Look, Rock, I need this WWF title. I need it more than you can ever imagine, and I'll do whatever it takes to get that world title." He's planting the seeds of what we ultimately saw, which was the unthinkable, which was McMahon and Austin joining forces for Austin to win the WWF Championship from The Rock at WrestleMania 17. I really, really wanted, because I think Cena is such a strong character, as much as Austin was at that time of 01, I wanted Cena to come in and lean on that, where, look, I haven't won a singles match in 6 years. I talked about it, at the most, the press conference a couple of months ago, where he's like, I just don't know if the world title, the 17th world title, is in the cards for me. I got to start at the back of the line. Then the Rumble happens. Then he has that incredible promo in the post pay-per-view presser, where he's like, "I deserve this. I'm putting my name in the chamber. I've earned it without having to wrestle a match to get into that." And it was almost like an Austin type thing, where he's just like, I need this. And I wanted him to come out today and just say how, I need this 17th world title for my personal reasons. This is more important to me than anything. I know I've said before it's not important. I was lying to myself, and I was willing to do whatever it took to get myself in that main event of WrestleMania to win that 17th world title, to cement my legacy as the greatest of all time. And if it meant joining forces with The Rock, a guy that I have a history with, and that gets me to you, Cody Rhodes, and to take you off that pedestal, then I'll do it. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And I think that keeps you as a heel. I think that shows it's a desperation move. Kind of like what Austin did with McMahon. Austin said, my character was growing stale, in my opinion. I had to do something to change it. I wanted Cena, and I didn't like the promo because everyone's like, well, fans, I'm not giving you what you want. Yes, you did, John. You turned heel. I don't need new music. I don't need anything. You turned heel. So in my opinion, when he's out there saying, you guys get nothing, well, John, I already got what we wanted for the last 20 years. You turned heel. New music's not going to convince me that you're this badass heel now. I wanted there to be I wanted him to be a little bit more of I did whatever it took. And if it meant stabbing you in the back and stabbing these fans in the back to get that 17th world title, then I'm going to do it. And George, that's the avenue I wanted them to take. Going into this, my least ideal situation for Cena was what he did today. That's my thought on it. What's yours?
My thought is it's not what we expected. Like, we all kind of wanted that WrestleMania 17 type build up. Mm-hmm. I mean, the seeds were already planted. I'm going to enter the Rumble. And then he loses the Rumble. And then we see like that stage of desperation. Well, I'm putting myself in Elimination Chamber because it's best for business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at that point, it's like, all right, that's a little cunty, but I'm still kind of behind you. Yeah, it's a little dickish. All right there, John Hogan, put your creative control card away. We got, like throwing himself in. So already was playing. It's like, all right, so Cena does want the title. Like it was already there. And then obviously, then the heel turn that we got. And this, to me, this promo of him coming out and attacking the fans and telling the fans, it's like, I've given you everything for 25 years and all you do is you take and you take and you take, like, what's for me? Like, what's next? Like, what more do I have to give you? I've given you everything and it's still never enough. I mean, from that aspect of the promo, it gets you thinking about like Cena's past and how the entire run where he was the face of the company, he was getting booed. So that's where the whole, like, I've given you everything, it's still not enough. Well, people didn't want that. So, all right, well, now I'm going to do this. He talked about how he's done everything for the fans, only for it to still just never be enough.
Mm-hmm.
And him going after all the fans here, that's him getting the fans automatic, like 100% away from him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because I think at that aspect, like with yours, if he goes in just desperate, like, I will do anything for this thing, I need this 17. That gives him a heel, but that makes him like a sympathetic heel where like if he wins, it's like, well, at least he got the 17. Like I think the heel that he's going for is this is a guy you do not want to hold the title. Okay. So like him going after the fans here, I think that's just the tip of it. And then next week we'll probably get like the motivation about like siding with The Rock. Maybe a little less. Like, all right, like I'm done talking to you people. Like fuck off. I've broken up with you. You're just a crazy ex-girlfriend. Like stop talking. Like we're because I think that's gonna come up a lot because he played off as like I'm breaking up with you. So I'm sure he'll start calling the fans crazy ex bitches or something. Which I hope is fine. But then I think the motivation comes out where it's like, it's like what I did for you. I stayed away from the title for you, for Ric Flair, to keep the legacy there. Now, this is me. I'm doing what it takes to get 17. Like, piss on you, piss on the legacy, piss on Ric Flair. I'm the greatest of all time, and now it's time for my accolades to show it. Or something along those lines.
What role, in your opinion, will The Rock play in all of this?
The only thing I can see is that The Rock can basically, to show The Rock's influence without him having to show up, because God knows Dwayne's going to show up when he feels like or when he doesn't feel like it. Like he is such a wild card because he comes and goes as he pleases. I know like there are things that are built up for him, but then there are times like, oh, he's not scheduled, then he is scheduled. It's like he can mess anything up at any time. Well, not mess up, but he's neither adding nor taking away.
Yeah.
Cena could just be getting like, say Cena wins at WrestleMania, and then Cena's like title run can just be, I'll show up when I feel like it. Doesn't matter. The Rock said I don't have to show up. I don't, he's the guy running the company. I don't listen to anybody else. That can be something where like The Rock is just giving him favors. Like, I said I was gonna defend the title this week, but nah, I'm just gonna face the Miz. Like, I'm gonna have an easy night or something like that. It's gonna be a lot of just like what The Rock can do from him as like a silent partner before he eventually like lurks his Brahma bullhead around the corner. He's like, hey guys, start slapping his arm. Like, yeah, goosebumps. We get it, idiot. Like, enough. Like, but he'll come out as a baby face and then switch to heel and then switch to baby face, and it'll just confuse everybody.
So, I want to ask you. There's been people that are talking online that there's possibly going to like a third person that's going to be part of this whole. I'm just going to say, this clique here. People have put, The Rock has put the 3 up. And then he did the same thing when he did the throat slash to Cena. Do you see a third person being introduced at some point?
I mean, I'm seeing that too, and there is a name I'm seeing being tossed around. I don't know how legit this is, but they're saying Mabel. Fuck you, Dave. piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean, I read British Bulldog, but we'll see.
But I've heard it Sting if it's not Hogan. So
That's right. Right.
Yeah.
If it's not Hogan, it's got to be Sting. I mean, Lex Luger's going into the Hall of Fame, so Sting's going to be around.
Damn right. By the way, he's going to be at Monster Mania in August.
Sting?
Yes.
Oh.
So if you want to get a ticket, jump in, get a little photo with the icon Sting.
I will say it's probably a good idea because it's the last year that he's going to be coming in paint.
Yeah. And he's only going to be there for one day, which is Friday night. So, but anyway, you asked me who the third person I think could be.
Do you think it could be a woman? Do you think it's, can you see like a Kevin Owens or a Punk or a Ricky? Like, do you get like a young guy and get like a Ricky Starks?
I don't think Starks is going to. I think Starks is going to spend some time in NXT for a bit before he comes up. So if that's something they're going to do, I don't think you need to make a faction out of this. Just let it go with like Rock and Cena, and then even at that aspect, and this is something to think about because The Rock is, essentially in the bloodline. Could Heyman be like a manager for Cena?
I'll tell. I kind of thought the same thing.
An all-encompassing wise man.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the same thing. Not a bad idea, that's for sure. I
don't think Cena needs a third for this aspect. He honestly doesn't need it. I want to see what he can do. If you feel the need to build a stable around him, then definitely you go with some younger guys who could use the rub.
Yeah.
Street Profits could definitely benefit massively. I mean, they did just win the SmackDown tag titles, but they would definitely benefit, or to a lesser extent, like even DIY.
Yeah.
To a point, let them kind of roll. You could throw like a Jacob Fatu in there, but I feel like he's already got enough on his own. You don't need to stick him with anybody else. Because I'm pretty sure him and Solo will be split, and then it'll just be Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga just doing nonsense, which I'm fine with. If Tama Tonga's going to crawl around going, yeah, then for some reason I'm massively entertained by that. I'm like, yay, do more of that.
Of course you are.
Of course I am. Or you take someone who's like a face and you turn them heel like you did Cena, like somebody like LA Knight, somebody like Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
Although Braun Breaker does not need to be dicking around with Cena.
Right.
Plus,
no, I agree.
You do that, you run the risk of Scotty walking out, and all of a sudden we're getting Steiner math, and he's calling Otis fat and losing his mind. I mean, granted, that's great TV. Just have Steiner walking around, Otis walks by him, and he gets mad. He's like, oh, he's fat.
Did you see that his interview with Chris Van Vliet where he said in Cameo people pay him to call their friends and just say, hey, you're fat?
No, that's got to be the easiest money in the world.
Can you imagine making money off of just to say to somebody they're fat? And like that's what they won.
And the funny thing is, like, Scott Steiner doesn't need it. Like, he's got money. I'm sure. He's invested well, and I think he owns an Applebee's franchise in North Carolina.
Oh my gosh.
So I think he's got like a few Applebee's stores too. It's like, oh, you mean he can do Steiner math?
Or he pays people to do it for him.
His interview with Chris Van Vliet was really good though.
It was really good. Yeah.
Another one who doesn't like Hogan.
Shocking.
Yeah.
It's starting to become a real common theme with people talking out about him.
I also didn't know that Hogan tried having him arrested.
I never knew that story.
Yeah, I was like, and it blew me away. It's like, he hit my wife and then threatened to kill me. It's like, what? Was this before or after Metallica turned you down?
Definitely right after. He was so angry about being turned down. He's like, you know what? I'm just going to tell people, like, I'm going to kill their wife.
Yeah. He was saying anger.
He was. That's where the inspiration. He'll tell you.
That's where it is. Yeah. Hogan
I inspired Saint Anger. Yeah. You inspired their worst album. Good job, Hulk.
I mean, Hogan's backstage behavior is some kind of monster. So
that's funny. All right, so we're gonna have plenty of time to discuss more and more as we lead the WrestleMania. So let's get to the reason why we are here. Raw versus Nitro from February 19th, 1996. We are going to start with WCW Monday Nitro.
Yes, we are.
So here we are. We are live from Salisbury, Maryland. Your hosts are obviously the same. Eric Bischoff, Bobby the Brain Heenan, and Steve Mongo McMichael. We lead off here with a hot one. Not really, but
Hot, baby.
Arn Anderson versus Hulk Hogan. So of course Hogan had to put Arn over last week to prove that he's not a prima donna.
Listen,
who
he gave him the rub. Is nothing but sky's the limit now for Arn Anderson.
This is just something. So at the end of this match here, Hulk won't go down for a DDT, shrugging him off, making a comeback without even taking a bump. Makes Arn, lay there for a minute, selling the awesome pain before putting him in a figure four. Randy Savage runs in to give Arn
figure four.
It was terrible. Savage runs in, which gives Arn the DQ win. Just about 7 minutes here. This was Hulk Hogan, in my opinion, at his most insufferable moment. This is like, I'm staring at the TV and I'm like, this is just, he's ridiculous. And up to that point, of course, we get more and more worse as the weeks go on. But, dude, this was awful, man. Like, just win. Can I have a clean Hulk Hogan match, please? What says you?
I'm confused how Randy Savage running into the ring warrants a disqualification because he didn't hit anybody involved in the match. He may have stepped on Hogan when he ran into the ring to stop Kevin Sullivan from getting in the ring also, which didn't really make any sense, but hey, I'm not. This entire show was produced by 5 blind men and 1 dumb dog, so it's rough. I'm like, wait a minute, and I even rewound it. I'm like, he never touched Arn Anderson. How is this a DQ? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna worry about it. Although Hogan taking that bump from like that elbow and then he just falls forward. I know he doesn't bump all the time, but he should at least know the direction.
He knows. He definitely knows. He's a pro. Look, we'll see other matches with him coming up where I will credit him and be like, dude, he's a pro. He knows where to be in certain spots. He knows exactly what he's doing. But man, in this match, sometimes in a lot of these matches and in these Nitros, he just looks awful and he plays dumb. And I'm just like, dude, people are on to you, man. Like, completely on to you.
It's like there are weeks where he looks, like prime Hogan, like he looks good, and then there are weeks where he looks like he's green.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you say it that way, and how you're like, oh, he definitely knows what he's doing, that fucking makes sense. He's been like sandbagging everybody his entire career that he doesn't really want to work with.
The thing is too is like when he looks green in some of these matches, he's in there with like legends. Flair, Arn, Savage. Come on.
Like guys who can actually wrestle rings around him.
Exactly. Come on.
Like anyone who's going to make him look bad in the ring, he's just going to make them look bad by acting like this is his first time getting in the ring.
Yeah. I'm with you. Well, thank God we had the next match to talk about.
Yeah.
Alex Wright versus Loch Ness. I don't know who Alex Wright did something wrong to or who he hurt, but okay. This one goes 2 minutes and 20 seconds. At one point, like Loch Ness is literally just standing there while Wright does all the moving, and he just quickly drops an elbow finish at just about 2.5 minutes. George, what the hell is this? What is this, and why is it following Hulk Hogan and Arn Anderson?
I was completely unprepared for you to just be like, George, what is this? Like, like I was just completely not ready for that kind of response. But
I
yeah, what
apologize.
is this? This got like they brought in, they're going to put him in the Dungeon of Doom, which honestly, shame on WCW. Not for anything with giant haystacks. He does what he does and he can what he can. But like, also, he was apparently sick at this time and had
Wow.
cancer,
Oh,
which is why his contract got terminated literally right after this match. Like, this is his last match in WCW.
I had no idea.
I think for the most part, unless he has like another one, but I'm not well versed in his career. But
Okay.
apparently, like he was diagnosed with cancer and was sick, but then still going out there and having a match. It's like, but if you're sick, why are you going out there? You're going to run the risk of hurting somebody.
For sure.
As big as he is, as little as Alex Wright is, holy shit.
And I had no idea.
But yeah, who did Alex Wright? Like, did he like walk in on someone taking a shit, or
Did
like
he send Polaroids to someone that were not appropriate?
I don't know, man. Is Benoit dating his girlfriend? I don't know what the hell's even going on.
Well, Alex Wright's still alive, so
he respects you, Booker, man.
he does. Next match, it gets better, at least for you guys, everyone. The Belfast Bruiser versus Brad Armstrong. Yep, this is on live Monday Night Television.
You mean I don't have to pay for this match?
No, I mean, you have to pay for Peacock if you want to watch it. This match somehow went just about 7 minutes. This was a whole lot of nothing to me. I will say, I mean, Finley, the Belfast Bruiser, if any tagline fits, boy, that dude could just beat the crap out of you, man.
He basically went from like Belfast Bruiser to like Finley the Belfast Bruiser. It's like the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, honestly, shit. This match was nothing, just like any other lower mid card match on Nitro is absolutely nothing. But damn, they were clean. That was a good. It was a good match for what it was. I mean, you got Finley, who's Ultimate Pro, Brad Armstrong, part of the famous Fighting Armstrong family. Unfortunately, he's not the most famous member of that family.
He's not.
Nope.
No,
Double G. Double
That's
J.
correct.
James.
That's right.
The roadie himself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a shame. It's a show. It's a good match, but it's nobody in 95 or in 96 gave a shit about a good match like this.
No, that's a shame.
No, I want Hogan. I want Loch Ness. I want the Giant and Hugh Morris. And I can't think of anybody else on Nitro because they don't show anybody else on Nitro.
No, they don't. How dare you?
Excuse me. The Road Warriors for a minute and a half.
And then they realize if we keep sending them out there, they're going to kill themselves or someone else.
They're a liability, and Ted Turner doesn't have insurance on them.
All right, so we get to the main event that quickly here on Monday Nitro, but it's a banger, man, except for just the worst finish. WCW World Heavyweight Title, Ric Flair versus Randy Savage on free television.
Again,
this match goes just about 12 minutes, man. If it was not for this convoluted bullshit finish where I have to see Booty Man, this is a 4.5 star, main event, George. Am I wrong?
This is a fucking clinic before the ending.
Yeah.
Two-thirds of this match was like prime 5-star caliber, like grade A New York thick prime cut steak. And then the other third of it is a fucking Band-Aid that's underneath it. Like it's so fucking bad. It's like what you take something good and then you just dump this red and yellow diarrhea on top of it, which is probably why the ending had what it had, because that ending works for him, brother.
Yeah,
but not a clean victory.
Yeah, I think you're on to something there. I'm just going to go over some of the match here since this was a quick Nitro. Savage is, as usual, just pissed off at Flair. He attacks to start. He pounds him away in the corner. Flair puts him on the floor with an atomic drop. Savage bumps into the crowd, then stops to chase after Woman. Of course, that proves foolish as Flair nails him from behind, and then Woman rakes his eyes for good measure. You get back in the ring. Savage fights back, runs into an elbow, at which point Flair does, also does a Flair flop, which is always great for the crowd. Savage gets a figure four. Flair makes it to the ropes. So Savage tries a sleeper, and Flair escapes with a backdrop suplex. I love that. Then Savage puts Savage down with an elbow to cut off a comeback. Flair goes to work on the knee and gets the figure four, but Savage does get out of it. You get the Flair flip in the corner. Savage goes up for the flying axe handle, but Woman throws in the size 7 of death. Savage intercepts it and gets the 2, but Arn Anderson runs in, DDTs him to give Flair the pin win at 11:40. What an awful, just a shit finish, dude. The Horseman and Sullivan, they work Savage over here. The Booty Man debuts to make the save. The announcers have no idea who this mysterious person could possibly be. I think that, they realized that, the fans are not that stupid. And I think they knew right away who it was. Maybe Zodiac had just been a spy in the Dungeon of Doom. But George, I know this is your favorite match of the week. So what says you?
He just showed up. He just fucking showed up. 2 weeks ago, he was Zodiac, and now he's somebody new, and we get nothing. But before I get to that, like I said, this match, Hogan and Flair have never had, or not Hogan and Flair, Savage and Flair have never had a bad match.
Right.
It's always been at the bare minimum, like a 4-star match. They've always had great chemistry, but then it was once everything started coming in, it was just like I don't mind Woman interfering. She wants to throw in the high heel for Flair to get a cheap shot. That's fine. That's what I expect from Flair and any woman that's at ringside. No pun intended on that one. And then Kevin Sullivan runs out, and he runs out and then runs all the way the fuck around the ring, and then tries to get in the ring.
Yep.
That's why I'm like this. That's why I said the show was produced by 5 blind men and a dumb dog. Because who thought it's hey, just have Sullivan come down and run a lap, and that was because then he goes to get in the ring, and then of course he's stopped by the Hulkster dude. Although then part of me, now that I'm saying this out loud, maybe he ran around the ring because Hogan missed his cue.
I think you could be right with that.
And he's just well, I got to do something. Because it's the referee doesn't stop him. He's just what the fuck?
Yeah.
And then Arn comes in with the DT, which the referee does see, but does not disqualify. So once again, I'm just confused of what's going on. When match in the opening of the show, somebody just ran into the ring and it was disqualification. This time, the referee saw Arn Anderson in the ring and Savage on the ground. It was well, I guess. And then everything, the Dungeon of Doom has to come out, and then the Booty Man shows up, and nobody knows who the fuck he is, but we know.
Yet everyone knows who he is.
Nobody cares, but also nobody cares who he is, because now I'm looking at this team, and I'm like, old ass Hulk Hogan, old ass Randy Savage, and now old ass little brother, brother Brutai. I'm like, dude, fucking come on with this shit. There isn't anybody backstage. There is, I know, because they talk about how much they do for younger talent. You can't just have some young guy come out, get a rub from being in the ring with the 2 biggest names in the business. Now, let's get Brother Brutai over.
You have to make sure he's over.
And then we'll get him a U.S. title run, and it'll all be great. Everything's
absolutely
fucking enough of the horse shit. And then this whole thing. This is the 3rd week in a row of somebody just running up to the announce table to grab a headset and scream into it. Just grab a microphone at ringside. Now I'm starting to wonder, did they not have wireless mics in WCW? Was the only microphone just the one on the cord carried by old Mean Gene?
Oh, I think you're right.
It has to be, because we didn't get in-ring promos in Nitro without Gene Okerlund for probably another couple of years at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
for sure.
So they must have just not had any wireless microphones. But either way, this is still pretty fucking annoying.
Yeah.
At the end of every show is somebody running up to the announce table and screaming into the headset. And Hogan says the same phrase 3 times about the booty man. Oh, if the booty man can't beat you, then nobody can. I'm like, well, it's fucking Brutus, like a perennial jobber. I'm pretty sure then I guess nobody can. But he says it so many times over and over again. It's like, shut up. Why are you terrible at everything right now?
This was something, man. This was such a bad era of WCW. I mean, at least in regards to all the Hogan crap. And then I know this was a Hogan thing. I mean, look, no one will ever convince me that it's not. And then you have Booty Man. How in 1996 can even Hulk Hogan look at that and be like, that's a great creative idea? Come on, man.
I mean, Hogan looked at it as a great creative idea because it makes him look better standing next to a ridiculous clown.
It's just terrible.
Put him next to Doink. Hogan looks like a god, And they also hyped on this. They were also continuously hyping up the Baywatch episode, which was called Bashed at the Beach, episode 6, or not episode 6, season 6, episode 15 for anybody who wants to watch. I, for one, will always watch it when it's on because it is utterly ridiculous. But also, it's the episode where Stephanie Holden finds out she has skin cancer and she's frantically attacking people on the beach, telling them to put on sunblock. And I love it. I love it. No, I don't give a shit. I love Baywatch. And I'm not going to sit here and hide in the fact that I don't. It is garbage. And I love hot garbage. But I don't like this end of Nitro, which was the hottest of fucking
the hottest of garbage.
But then, like, all the Baywatch, when they hyped up, they talked about, it's like, oh, it's going to have Ric Flair and Hogan and Macho Man and Taskmaster and that turncoat Vader. Like,
I just can't.
Couldn't just not mention him at all.
I just can't.
If there's somebody I'm not going to piss off, it's going to be Vader. I don't give a shit if he's like sloppy in a ring. When that man hits you with a fucking potato, you feel that for the rest of your life.
For sure.
He would just crush Bischoff's head and not even think twice.
All right, let's go over to what the world was watching, and that was Monday Night Raw. By the way, Monday Night Raw won the ratings battle this week by literally just percentage points, a 3.1 to a 2.9. But, Raw getting over that 3 mark.
Well, it's up in the 3s. That's growth.
That would have been the first time since wow. I can't even get back a little bit further. Yeah, before the Nitro era, basically, this is the first time the WWE has pulled a 3 or higher. So good for them. So let's kind of now talk about this because, it's February 19th, 96 from Cincinnati Gardens in Cincinnati, Ohio, 8,500 people in attendance. Vince McMahon, Jerry the King Lawler are at the helm. We're done within your house, the big story now, George, at this time is it's time for WrestleMania.
It's WrestleMania season. We're on the road to WrestleMania before that was even a term.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes from the In Your House the previous night, there's barely anything really to talk about coming out of that night. Brett's still the champion. Diesel versus Undertaker, it's pretty clear for WrestleMania at this point. And really, it's just a countdown until HBK completes that boyhood dream. So we're now on full-fledged WrestleMania watch here. Here we are. Sonny's on the beach in a black swimsuit. Dear Lord. Tells
she
us
is.
Yep. Of course, we go into a recap list about last night's main event with Undertaker, pulling Diesel through the mat, which is one of my favorite things. It's really cool. I love that. Was really neat seeing that happen. First match of Raw here is Razor Ramon versus Goldust. Goldust is defending, and I had completely forgotten, George, by this point that he's even the champion.
Is it because he's draped in so much gold that the gold Intercontinental title just blends into him?
It has to be it. It has to be. Or the fact that this moment, I'm probably just so focused on Marlena. So that's probably what it is.
Priorities.
Priorities. That's right. You got to count out here. It's a nothing match. It felt like they were out there for maybe 2 minutes worth of action to me. No, it's pretty clear that this is going to be setting something up in the future. Probably, would have obviously had it not been for Razor's issues. It's been well documented that Razor did not want to work with Goldust. It was a bad match, and I thought it was not a good way to start off a show. And it doesn't help that on the other channel, you have Arn Anderson and Hulk Hogan starting things off. So what was your thoughts on this opener? Clearly, Razor wanted to be anywhere but there.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been anywhere else.
Yeah.
At this point in time, he was just basically in there for a match. I mean, clearly this was just designed to set up the WrestleMania match, which was scheduled to happen, but ultimately did not due to Scott Hall's demons, as troubling as they are for him, and he's going to continuously have battle with them for the rest of his life, unfortunately. Like right up until he gets up with a DDP later on. But I mean, it's a shame because it's if we knew that this wasn't going to lead to a WrestleMania match, because I mean that's what like Razor asked Roddy Piper for, hey, I want Intercontinental title match WrestleMania, and that was something that was going to be made official until, well, I mean, I like Goldust. I love this heel Goldust character. It's fantastic.
I like Goldust a lot.
And you could tell that like the plan to get it replaced for WrestleMania was just thrown in because they had Roddy Piper thrown in. Because Roddy Piper's like, no, we don't want people like that in the WWF. It's like, oh, well, that's heavy-handed 1996.
And then you kind of know where Razor's head is at the end here. Post match, Razor grabs the mic. He begs Roddy Piper to give him a fight with Goldust because he doesn't want any of his kids watching this stuff on television. Knowing what we know now, that was a work shoot, brother. Undertaker walks out of a casket here. Pretty good stuff. What was your thoughts on them? Finally, after I feel like it's months of not showcasing the Undertaker on Monday Night Raw, George. It looks like as we get towards WrestleMania season, we're going to see more Undertaker here.
Well, as per usual, WrestleMania season's around the corner. Taker's going to be on every episode of everything to let you know they're coming for the streak. That doesn't exist yet.
It doesn't exist yet.
Is he just chilling in a fucking casket?
Damn right he is.
Like, where's Paul Bear? Does he come up and like
Paul
bang
Bear?
on it? Does he come up and bang on it like it's a Goldberg intro? Like when his music hits, comes up, Undertaker, and then.
Hey, Mark, here's your Denny's that you ordered. Thank you. Thanks. He just closes it back again. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, maybe you and I will get this reference, of Guillermo when he has to go wake up Nandor and just opens up his casket, gives him what he needs, and closes the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, they say the Taker's just like, fucking guy. Did you see Taker and Kane did a watch along for their WrestleMania 14 match? And then when they showed Kane hit him with the tombstone, Taker's like, oh, you got me, brother.
Oh, man. The bitterness will always be there.
And rightfully so.
It should be.
I mean, Hogan 1,000% could have ended what would have been the greatest wrestling career of all time. All because, oh, you got me, brother.
Yeah, it's just hilarious. What a clown. Slam Jam recaps almost everything from the previous night in your house pay-per-view, which eats up a lot of time.
This is your favorite part of Raw. Knock it off. You love Slam Jam.
I do love the Slam Jam. I wish it was still around.
You especially love the Slam Jam band with Jim Johnson on guitar.
Oh, you damn right I do. This era deserved Def Rebel, not Jim Johnston.
How dare you?
Body Donnas versus Aldo Montoya, Barry Horowitz. Just kidding. It's just Vader coming out, beating up jobbers. Yeah. We get a quick update that the Ultimate Warrior is coming back. Trust me, everybody, it's not going to last very long.
Everyone's so excited.
I know.
Not me, because I know what the future holds.
You're damn right. One Warrior Nation, my friend. Bob Backlund is around campaigning for the crowd, which made me laugh hysterically because Bob Backlund just leaned into this so hard.
God, I love
Um,
Bob Backlund.
Then you get into stuff as we're starting to really plant even bigger seeds as the top storyline that's going to be in the 1996. I mean, for historical reasons anyway. The Ringmaster here versus Marty Jannetty. Vince on commentary during Ringmaster's entrance says, "You talk about a stone cold man."
I wonder if he's talking about him.
I wonder what he's talking about. Is he talking about Marty? Austin is
yes.
At this point, Austin isn't interested in having any of his wrestling stuff and sends Marty outside. The stun gun sends us to a break, and we come back with Austin driving a knee into Jannetty's ribs. He hits the STF, gets and got some loud. Dude, you could hear the spot calling at this one, which is definitely the kind of thing Austin would just bitch about today.
Yeah.
So funny.
It's like, no, it was okay when I did it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Marty makes a really simple comeback, but then gets caught in that $1 million dream for the quick submission. I think Marty was a really good choice here to do a job. The fans like him. He's certainly going to put on a really good performance to lose. I think Austin really needed a feud, though, man, to turn this character, which is hardly interesting. It isn't going anywhere at that moment. To be fair, though, he had you had to start somewhere. And this is better than a lot of other nonsense that some characters would get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, Jannetty is like a lovable loser at this point. Like, he isn't going to win a match, but you want to see what he's going to do because he's usually really good in the ropes. And yeah, once again, not like Austin needs anyone to make him look good, but Jannetty made him look, pretty damn amazing.
For sure.
Yeah, like those little things, and then Vince says it again at the end of the match. Like, that's a stone cold killer right there. Like, he just driving it in. It's like, all right, Vince. I get it. But yeah, I mean, this is like the signs are there for him to make that personality change into Stone Cold. Just him coming out and like staring directly like down the barrel of the camera. It's like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to break the fourth wall, but okay. Don't worry, you do that.
I agree. Mankind vignette to set that up, pretty good.
He's all in on those vignettes, man.
Oh, he thrived off of those.
You put a microphone in front of Mick Foley, he'll give you magic for 3 minutes.
Yeah, you're damn right. Tatanka versus The Undertaker is going to be our main event here.
Yay.
I mean, I think we kind of know where this one's going. You have some normal gimmick stuff from Taker, which is everything I always love here. Undertaker chokes Tatanka into the corner like he's the Undertaker, obviously, and he's facing Tatanka. So, we get not a greatly serious Undertaker here, but a Samoan drop gives Taker a little bit of a breather. But here's Diesel with an axe to steal a cameraman as we go to break. Back with Diesel, hackling up Undertaker's casket, and Undertaker fighting out of a hard chin lock. You get the tombstone, going for a tombstone here, but Tatanka counters it into a DDT. Diesel still smashing up the casket. And then we do finally get the tombstone that puts Tatanka away. That Native American, he fought until the very bitter end. Dude, I'm almost never a fan of a match happening as a backdrop for the angle or whatever else you would call Diesel breaking up a casket. Obviously, we know from future views, Tatanka's, he's not going to be around much longer after this. He's not even going to be around for WrestleMania. So, I guess this was what it was. You're building on the storyline heading into Mania between Diesel and Taker. But what was your thoughts on this?
I mean, it was just a match to give Taker a little bit of momentum going in WrestleMania. Yeah. Nobody in the world needs momentum. It's definitely not the Undertaker.
No.
That man has never walked into a WrestleMania as the underdog, even after he lost.
Right.
So, I mean, it's good that. And then with the angle, when Nash had the axe and started walking with the cameraman, my first thought was is he going to kill Paul Bearer? I was just because I'm like, what's it fucking doing? And they smashing the casket. It's like that's cool and all.
Yeah.
It gives them something to do, and I'm sure Big Kev didn't break his back too much swinging that axe, so you got an easy payday for him. And
Very much so.
For him, those are the best type of paydays.
It is crazy, man, that we're thinking, it's late February we're covering, and only March, April, May. We only got like 2.5 months left of Kevin Nash. Before we see him and everything in the world changes in like 3 months.
I mean,
it's just crazy.
I mean, this is probably like the last time we see Razor Ramon until he does In Your House in April.
Yeah.
And then we don't see him again until he shows up on Nitro.
Yeah. Crazy times, man.
This is insane. This is insanity when you think about it.
It is. And it's cool. We're going to be covering all that very soon.
Like we are on the doorstep to change right now. Problem is there's a big moat and there are crocodiles that are made out of shit that are swimming around and they're going to, and they're hungry.
Oh, you're right, man.
For more shit.
And now the main event of Raw, Billionaire Ted skit. Larry Fling is live on BNN, which is Billionaire News Network, after some stupid jokes. Randy from Sarasota and Jerry from Tampa is calling in. Terry from Tampa. Huckster needs time off because of a shoe to the eye. The third caller is Jane from Hanoa, which is Ted Turner's wife, by the way.
That's Hanoi.
Hanoi. Oh,
because
I'm so sorry.
Because her nickname in the 70s was Hanoi Jane. Because I think it was during the Vietnam War, she was a North Vietnamese sympathizer, or not really sympathizer, but more or less against the U.S. just going into Vietnam for no fucking reason. I mean, she got the last laugh because we lost.
Yep. Yeah, she did. This interview, this caller goes nowhere. Larry brings up the predatory practices that Vince has been whining about for months, and Turner suddenly can't speak about all the charges against him. Tune in more for next week. Can't wait. Undertaker and Paul Bearer are angry and distraught as the show goes to credits. Dude, this was a very bad show too. I mean, what are we even watching anymore? I know they're getting ready for Mania, but that doesn't mean that like everything is just all okay. The Billionaire Ted skits, man, which are closing the show almost every week now, they're not funny. They're basically Vince's therapy airing on live television, and it doesn't make for good TV other than him. And we've known for years now that you could tell there's so many skits that were made just for the pure entertainment of Vince himself.
Yeah. And the Billionaire Ted is definitely one of them.
Exactly. The wrestling, I feel, is a mess. You expect these shows to get worse and worse every week. And thankfully, we're going to have some better days ahead. But George, this week was a bad week for the Monday Night Wars.
Yeah. I mean, we got to get through. We got to get through hell before we get to the promised land at this point.
Yeah, man.
And we're in like circle 9 here. So we're on the rise, but there's a lot in the way first.
So, although George,
we do have, and just for future wise only, we're about to see the debut of Mark Marrow soon too.
Yeah,
which is weird because he's currently TV champion.
He is. Yep, you wouldn't know it though.
Not if you're watching your TV.
The age-old question, George. Which show was better this week?
Oh God, nobody deserves to be.
I know.
Nobody deserves to be better than the other for this week. And that's where I'm leaving it.
Okay. So it's a draw.
It's a draw.
Okay.
Because neither show had any business being better than the other, but I don't think one was worse than the other.
I agree with you. I think I give a slight minuscule nod to Raw because I thought Austin and Jannetty was pretty good. Was decent.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to say either show was better. I'm just saying of both shows, I felt like the best match of the entire week was Jannetty and Austin.
Here's the thing, like
No, I'm
Even if you
sorry. No, I got to give it to Nitro. That main event before that finish was spectacular.
Yeah.
Flair and Savage.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, it's just I don't think either show deserves any real accolades over the other one at this point because
Yeah.
because if these were the choices and I was like the age I am now and it was 1996 and these were my choices,
Oh,
I would have just watched like
wasted
Murder.
my night.
I would have just watched like Murder One on ABC or whatever the fuck they were airing in
Yeah.
1996.
I agree.
On ABC, or I'm
What a
sure
giant
there was
waste
like
of time.
Wings
Mhm.
or some or was on. I don't know what the Monday night lineup was.
Yeah. You're
Unfortunately,
right.
there's no football right now, so
No. All right, everybody. Next week, we're gonna have another Raw versus Nitro review as we're getting closer and closer to WrestleMania season. We'll probably talk about what happened this upcoming Friday on SmackDown and what happens on Raw next week. We'll kind of talk a little bit in the beginning of every show about what's going on currently, and then we'll get into our reviews. Thank you, everybody who's been watching and downloading the show. If you're on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell for notifications when we're going to be live again, which is every single week, thankfully. For George Rogers, I'm Christy Francesco. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys down the road. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.